Good afternoon and welcome everyone. My name's Karen Gardner and I work as an education officer in the Diocese of Wagga Wagga. And today it's my privilege to be the host for our Catholic Learning Online session using Lucid to facilitate collaborative writing in the classroom. Vanessa works for Lucid for Education and she's currently, I think, in Kansas City. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, so I'll stop sharing and feel free to lead us through the journey that you've got for us this afternoon. I'm really looking forward to it, Vanessa. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, and does everybody see my welcome first slide?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so like I said, since we have a nice small group, feel free to write any questions in the chat and we can kind of just collaborate back and forth. So don't hesitate to ask any questions. And just a little bit about me. So I started my career teaching elementary school. And so I've taught first, second, third, and fourth grade. And then I did that for 7 years. And then for 7 years after that, I was an ed tech coach. And so I worked with teachers K through 12, helping them integrate technology into the classroom. And then most recently, I've just had my year anniversary here at Lucid for Education. And so that is what has brought me here today. And as you can see here, I'm not if anybody else can relate with small children. This is the best I could do with getting photographs. It is impossible. So this gives you a little peek into my crazy life. I'm going to go ahead and put a link to this presentation in the chat. So feel free, you can click on that and you can follow along, or you can just, watch on the screen. This will also give you some resources that you can use when you, oh, nope, that's the playlist. Forgot I copied that. It was all set and ready to go. So here is that link. And so this will also give you some links afterwards to look through and see any of the resources that I talked about today. Okay, so the agenda. First, we're going to talk about just in general the benefits of using graphic organizers to support and scaffold the writing process. We're going to talk about some graphic organizers that we have included in the suite. And then we're also going to talk about some basics to using those graphic organizers. So that's going to be our intro. And then we're going to spend the majority of the time talking about different ways that you can utilize Lucid for collaborative writing and some benefits of collaborative writing. So we're going to jump right in with the benefits of using graphic organizers. On the left are just our benefits of any type of graphic organizer, paper, digital. Writing is a complex and daunting task. I don't know if you've ever just sat in front of your computer and you have a paper due the next day, because of course you're probably a procrastinator like me, right? Everybody does this. And you just don't know what to write. And so by using graphic organizers, it helps the students break up writing into manageable tasks. And then it also helps students visualize their thoughts so they can get all of the thoughts that are bouncing around in their brain, put them onto the paper, get that visual, which then helps guide them through that writing process. Now, what are some benefits of using it in Lucid? The first one is, I'm not sure if you guys have experienced this, but since I taught elementary, we did 4-square graphic organizers a lot, and my students would always start with their handwriting way too big, and then it would get minuscule by the end. And then some of them, I'm sure you've had them who are the spinners, they start writing around their paper 50 times. And so with it digital, you can easily change the font, enlarge the space that they're working on with that endless canvas, so they're not stuck to that 8x10 piece of paper. It's also really easy to make edits and revisions, so your students don't have to be killing their eraser, going through 8 eraser tops just to write up their piece in their graphic organizer. It also extends that audience and makes it a lot easier for the teacher to look in on what the students are working on during the writing process without having to collect the papers and stop the students during that time, or take it home for hours of reading through all of that. And then it's just user friendly, and students can no longer blame that dog for eating their assignment because it lives in the cloud. There are no dog clouds, although I'm sure that the students would come up with that if they need to. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to explore some writing graphic organizers. I'm going to show you first kind of how to manipulate this toolkit, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of time just to kind of look through the toolkit so you can kind of get an idea of graphic organizers that you can push out to students, where students can be getting in collaboratively to work on these graphic organizers, or you could use your either Canvas, Google Classroom, or Schoology integration to push these templates out to your students, and it'll automatically make a copy for each of these students. So first I'm going to go ahead and model. So you don't have to click on anything yet. You can just kind of watch. So when I clicked on the link, and I'll re-show you how to do that in 1 second, it's going to open up your pre-writing toolkit, which is basically all of these are also searchable inside the dashboard in the product. But this is just where we've kind of taken all of the ones we have for writing right now and consolidated them in one place. So it's a little bit easier to find. So you can get a little snapshot of what it looks like. And then each of them has a link attached to it. If you click the link, it's automatically making a copy of that writing graphic organizer for you. So you can make customizations, edits, and then you can push that out to students. So for example, let's say we're going to complete this pre-write organization. I'm going to click on this link right at the top of the image. It's making a copy for me. So this is my own copy. I can make whatever edits I'd like. Sorry, we're on hotel internet, so hopefully things might be a little slow. So once you're in, then you can come in and you can make any customizations that you would like. So you can come in here, and I'm noticing whoever put this link in is not an updated link. So 1 second, let me put this in my teacher profile. Okay. But it should work for you guys since you already are on teacher accounts. I was on my Lucid account. I'm going to go into the other one that will hopefully work for you. We'll do the mind map. Although this is in Lucid Spark. Anybody else ever notice that the zoom bar is always right where you need to be clicking? So I just want to quickly get in one that's Lucid chart for you so you can see that. And once you're in, you can come in, and this is where you can make those customizations for your students. So it keeps. Okay, so I'm going to come in. Sorry, it keeps yelling at me and my student one isn't working. So I'm just going to go to the dashboard and search it for you. You should have instant access to all of those because you're already in your education accounts. Lucid.app. When you're trying to log into Lucid, also you can log in if your school district is using Google. You would just click the login with Google button and it'll automatically link your account. If you're an Office 365 account, then you can click login with Office 365. So I'm just going to go ahead, and this is your dashboard. So whenever you open up any of the templates that are in the writing toolkit, it's going to bring you to this home screen. And any of the things you see at the top are your recent documents, anything you've starred, and then your recommended documents. And then if you hit the little drop down from documents in your dashboard, this is where you see any folders you've created. Don't be like me and not organize your dashboard. I do not practice what I preach, and you can see I have a hot mess of documents everywhere. Thank goodness for the search documents. Otherwise, I would be completely lost. It looks just like my Google Drive. So this is where you'll find any of those templates that you open up from the toolkit. You'll also notice that we have shared folders. Shared folders gives you the option, just like in Google Drive, where you have a team drive. This is a team folder, so nobody owns those documents. So if you're collaboratively planning, you can put your documents in there. And if one teammate leaves, they don't take all of their documents with you. So it mirrors Google. And then you'll also notice we have templates. So this is another place that you could go to access those templates. And since Lucid chart on my toolkit keeps yelling at me and my teacher account doesn't want to load, I'm going to open up one of these graphic organizers. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this pyramid and just show you some tips and tricks of some things that I really like as a teacher when I put these together for students. So some of the things I like is the templates are already created. It has the text boxes. These were all created using the text boxes and the shapes on the left. So you can easily manipulate, you can move things around, you can add your text to it. So it's really easy to get started. You can also add things from the left-hand side. So you can add text boxes, shapes, sticky notes, anything that you would like if you want to add different things to your board. And then the biggest thing that I love is I usually highlight all of my items. And if you're a classroom teacher, you're going to absolutely love this. My students, I would create a template for them. They'd immediately get in there and then they'd accidentally delete things. They would move things around. And so in the toolbar, you'll see that there is a lock feature. So the lock feature now allows me to lock by size, position, style. So you'll see my, they can no longer change the font, the size. They're not spending 30 minutes picking which font they want for their writing. And I'm going to keep content open. So now when the students come in, they can edit the text in the graphic organizer that you've provided, but they're not able to change the font or the size or the color. And so they're focusing on that instructional task without getting distracted by those other things. So if you take away anything today, my colleagues are always, frustrated with me, like, you put too much excitement into that lock. And I'm like, you've clearly not taught a classroom of middle schoolers. So I absolutely love this lock. So I would come in, customize my template, lock it down. I usually you can lock by one at a time, but usually I'll just click and drag everything and lock it by the size, position, and style. And then I'll leave content open. Once you have your template ready, that's when you can push it out through Schoology, Google Classroom, or Canvas, depending if you have an LMS that you're working with. And I've linked the integrations so you can watch whether your Google Classroom, we have 2 videos on how to create the assignments and how students turn it in. So you can watch how you can push it out through your LMS. So what I would like to do is, hopefully you've already been kind of clicking around in here. I'm going to go ahead and add this template to the chat. So you can go ahead and you can take maybe 5 minutes just to kind of go through, click on some of these, play around with the lock, and just kind of play with it for a little bit. And then I'll check. I see there's one thing in the chat, so I'll see if that hasn't been responded to yet. So here you go. Here is the direct link to the writing toolkit. And as you can see here, I already see 3 people who are inside of this writing toolkit. So go ahead, I'm going to start a timer and I'm going to give everybody just 5 minutes of free time to poke around, click on the graphic organizers, customize them, play with them, kind of get a feel for these pre-made graphic organizers. And then we're going to get into some collaborative writing together. And I'll go ahead and stop sharing so I'm not overwhelming your screens. And then be prepared. I'm going to ask you if there's one you found that you're really excited to use. So hopefully somebody will be brave and speak in front of the group. This is about your 1 minute warning, and then we'll come back and I'd love to hear some of the ones that you really like and are excited to use with your students. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and steal the screen away. Again, unless you're on multi-screens, then you'll still be able to see your screens. Please let me know in the chat if you're not looking at the writing toolkit. I have a little tip before I move on past our writing toolkit. You'll notice that there is a star in the upper left-hand corner. If this is something that you want to be able to easily find, and you are worried about losing the other presentation, anytime you see something, you can star it to easily find it again. So now if I click on this and I go to Documents in my dashboard, and I go to that Home button, and I come to my starred section, now that will be listed in my starred items. Oh. I'm going to go ahead and refresh. Well, you should hopefully find it in your starred items. Nothing wants to work for me today. That's just how this is going to go. But this, when you star this toolkit, that is where it goes. Or you can also find it under Documents, and then you'll find it under Shared with Me, since this was a view-only document that I shared to you. You could also just do File Duplicate, and then that will make your own copy of this, and then you will find it inside of your documents. So those are just some tips if you ever find something and you want to easily be able to find it. Okay, so now I'm back in the main presentation. So you can either close or minimize your other writing toolkit. Down here is where I was talking about those integrations. So we have some locking and other tips and tricks linked below on the writing toolkit. And then we have send a copy to each student using either Google Classroom, Canvas, or Schoology. I'm going to go ahead and copy this link quickly for you, and then I'll put that in the chat so you can pull that up and have the integrations easy to find for another time in case you lose track of this presentation. Because really, when you're using these graphic organizers and you want students working on them independently, it's really easy to just open it up in Lucid and then push it out through the integration. So any questions related to the graphic organizer writing toolkit before we get into collaborative writing and we get to do some collaborating together?
Vanessa, I'd be curious to see which templates people used or had a look at.
Oh, I forgot to ask. You're right. Perfect. So yes, please go ahead and come off mute. I'd love to hear some of the templates that you think you would find the most effective. And then Karen, I forgot if I cut you off if you had a specific task you wanted to hear about.
No, I was just curious. Sorry, I just had a phone call coming in. I was just curious as to what people viewed. I know that I viewed the brain writing one, and I like the idea that it's you had the participants 1 through 6, and it was color coded. So you put your initial idea in, the next person built on the first idea and the second idea and third idea, etc.
Awesome. So who would like to go next? Thank you, Karen, for sharing. Going first. So this was Karen's.
Hey Vanessa, Louise here.
Hey,
I
Louise.
just like the whole idea of it. We in our diocese have spent a fair bit of time in writing, talking about the power of interactive writing as a strategy for that first 10 minutes, first mini lesson of a writing block. And this would be a great tool to use as part of that interactive writing. I can't name one. In fact, I like the idea of even creating my own based on the inspiration of some of these. I think it'd be great.
Awesome. I love how you said like creating your own, because really like, you know, this is a lot of inspiration, and then it's really easy to put together your own graphic organizers as well. Who would like to go next? Any brave souls?
Hi, it's Paul.
Hey, Paul.
I went to the hamburger, probably because I'm a little bit hungry, but
It's a hamburger.
Yeah, I've just finalized our licensing for the year moving forward. So I actually want to focus in on Lucid and see if I can promote it a little bit out there with our teachers and get a bit more engagement in the platform. but I'm fairly new myself to it. So
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming, Paul. So hopefully now you can also have, a better understanding since you're new to it as well.
awesome.
One more thing, Vanessa, I just noticed it put my name on it and the date for today automatically.
Some of the templates will automatically do it. So when you push it out through the integration, it's making a copy for each of them. It'll automatically do a header for the students. If you don't want it to do that, you can just before you push it out through your LMS, you can erase that part of the top and it'll get rid of that. But some of our templates have that auto coding where it automatically puts their name in when they go into the document.
And before I go, Karen, Paul is Robin's replacement. We won't say that. All right.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
All right, so yeah, if nobody else wants to share, last call. All right, we'll go ahead on to the next part where we get to collaborate together. So again, you can access those LMS integrations right here. And you can also look at some other tips and tricks at the bottom of your presentation. So I'm back on that main presentation tab that I sent at the beginning of the presentation. So I'm not going to play this video because I'm going to be modeling it for you, but I just wanted to highlight that if you forget how to do collaborative sharing, I have this video embedded here so you can play and watch it directly in here in this presentation if you want to be reminded how to create collaborative links. But I'm going to model that for you in just a second. So these are I'm going to do a couple modeling of whole group activities where you could do with your students for that collaborative brainstorm and pre-writing type of activities. And then we're going to go ahead and do some fun activities together. So for this first one, you'll notice that this is just really easy activity. So it doesn't take a lot of time for the teacher to put it together, but it really actively engages the students. So in this activity, the teacher just writes the main topic here. So we're going to be brainstorming a topic. So let's say we're doing persuasive writing. So students should wear uniforms to school. So that is the stance. And so now we're all going to brainstorm different evidence or statements to back up that claim. So now the teacher would come and they would send out a share link with edit permissions. Never do edit and share with students because it gives them some facilitator controls that you don't want them to have. So I just share the edit always, and then you guys on the presentation that I sent you, this presentation have view only. So I'd send out an edit link, and then the students come in and they're clicking and dragging different questions onto the board. And since we have such a small group, I'm going to go ahead in and manage, and I'm going to give you edit access. And you can come on in, and why don't you just go ahead and drag some sticky notes on to this example from the toolbar of evidence, or sorry, not justifications of justifying why students should wear uniforms in school. So there's no other stance. This is the stance we're currently brainstorming. So go ahead and from the toolbar, you just click and drag out a sticky note, and then you can instantly start writing. So as the teacher, I can hover over your sticky note while you're writing, and I can see who's writing in it. And then I can see live what the students are writing. And then we can help use this to draft our ideas when we get into then mapping out in a more structured graphic organizer of our persuasive writing. And then if anybody is missing this link, I'm going to go ahead and resend out a link. Ooh. So here is this link. I'm going to make it an edit for everybody. And now I'm going to send out my little airplane link. So I'm going to put this link right into the chat. So if anybody hasn't found this activity yet, if you click on the link in the chat, it will take you directly to this chat, to this activity. Perfect. School uniforms help form a sense of community. I love it. And so multiple students could be dragging out, and students could drag out multiple ideas. We also have emoji responses. So the students can come in. Usually I ask students to then read through. And if you see other people, somebody's already found it. Perfect. Thank you, Karen. You can add a thumbs up emoji to show that you also agree with that statement. And when I hover over the emoji, you can see who put it. So I love this, especially designer brands were a huge thing in my high school growing up. And if you couldn't afford them, you weren't cool. So it really reduces that, anxiety in school of feeling like you can't afford to be cool and popular in school. So I gave that one a thumbs up because that also resonates with me. So this was just that quick brainstorming, getting ourselves started. Ooh, and I love this too. That also goes into play. Oh, perfect. I love that. Non-gender specific. Awesome. Okay, so thank you for collaborating. So this was just one example of a way to start that collaborative brainstorm before we would then start taking all of our stances and completing a multi-paragraph persuasive essay. So now we're going to go ahead. If you aren't in the path, a quick tip or trick is on the left-hand side. You'll notice that there's this little frames icon. If you click on the frames, this gives you access to a table of contents, and the table of contents lets you click through each of the activities. Or if you go to the path and just click on the word path 1, it will open up a path, which most of you should already be in since that's the link I shared to you. And then you have this navigation pane at the bottom, which allows you to click through, or you can click view all and you can jump to the activity that we were on. So now we're going to go ahead to the activity number 7. So this activity is kind of going through where students might be starting to, they were able to pick. Maybe they're all working in, they work for the school newspaper. And so they're deciding what articles they want to write. Anytime they're deciding on a topic or tasks that they might want to prioritize. You'll also notice as the teacher, I'm going to make myself the facilitator and I'm going to take the lead. And before I do that, I'm going to turn on my controls since I decided to let you guys in with edit permissions. And so as the facilitator, now you can't mess with my timer, my voting, my locking, or my hiding. So that keeps any student from unlocking the things I've locked. So now none of you can mess with my templates. But now I'm going to take the lead. So this will bring all of you to my view on the board. So in case I notice anybody getting lost, now that'll zoom you right to where we're at. So for this one, let's pretend we're all, we work for the school newspaper and we're brainstorming different articles that we want to write for the school paper. So same idea, just click and drag a sticky note out, and then you can write just a quick topic. So for example, pizza Fridays, or maybe we want to write about teacher interviews. So we're generating ideas, camping on weekends. I love it. Sports carnival. So this is where we can kind of come in. We can generate ideas. Don't forget to use, Perfect Crystal just did it, use those white circles to resize so the students can fit all of their ideas on there. Taco Tuesdays. And so then the second step, the students can use those emojis then, and they can be discussing, they have their laptop up and they're also talking and they're saying, okay, now let's use emojis. And I want you to put a thumbs up on your 2 favorite articles for this upcoming week. There's also a voting session that you could start where they actually vote on the sticky notes. The voting session we're not going to do right now. I guess I'll start one. So I'll give you each 3 votes. We'll say that in the school newspaper, we're going to be writing 3 articles. So I'm going to start a voting session and I'm going to give you 3 votes. And I'm going to allow you to vote only on the sticky notes since that's what we used in our brainstorm. So now you'll notice when you hover over these sticky notes, you should be able to add your votes to the board. So and just click on these 3 stars and that will get you in the voting session. So I want to vote on, I liked teacher interviews, coaching sports, and bike riding in the snow. I want to know. So again, to access your voting on your toolbar, you click on the 3 stars. If you can't find the 3 stars, you'll notice that there are 3 dots at the very bottom of your toolbar, and that gives you access to more tools to pin or just to open. So if you click on the voting session, it'll open up your sidebar and now allow you to vote. But again, students could also just use the emoji responses, whichever one they think will be the most productive way of gaining a consensus on which articles they want to move forward with. You'll also see that as the teacher managing this voting session, I'm seeing who's been doing it, where everybody's at. And then I'm just going to go ahead and end that. And now I can see that, we have 3 votes. So biking in the snow, we're definitely going to include that. Pizza Fridays, teachers, we have a bunch of 2. So now we can kind of continue deciding it and I can see who voted on what. But now what we're going to do is then we could discuss as a group and start moving these in. So obviously biking in the snow is first. That's our high priority article. We're going to get started working on that. And then I could even add a comment and we could assign this to a group of students that they're going to be working on that activity. Then we can come in and we can start prioritizing these. So teacher interviews, Pizza Fridays, these all had 2. So they're going to go in second. And then third, we have sports. And then these guys, and we have some emojis. So we can add those into third as well. So now as the teacher, or not the teacher, but the group of students can start discussing and assigning, okay, these are our priorities. We're going to work on this first, second, and third. We could also keep all the brainstorms over here. And instead of dragging these out, we could add new sticky notes of tasks we need to do in order to complete this activity. So just some different ways that you can use this and some more collaborative brainstorming. Okay, so now if you use your navigation pane at the bottom, I am at the collaborative concept mapping on slide 8, and I'm going to go ahead and take the lead. So I'm going to stop presenting and now zoom you all back to me, whether you wanted to or not. You'll also notice I can click on any of your names and it'll bring me to where you're at the board, so you can use that as a behavior management piece. So for this one, you can practice. We're coming in, let's say we're doing a research article and we're all researching. We're going to research something fun like mammals. So we're doing a research report, we're researching animals, and then we're going to write a research article. So we're doing animals. So you can come in and practice. I'm going to go ahead and unlock these for you and go ahead and just claim one and go ahead and add a subtopic and then maybe some sub characteristics off of that. So all you need to do is double click in a subtopic to add something. And then to add additional bubbles, you can use this little shortcut to pull out. And then you can add additional details to each of your subtopics just by pulling out from that little circle. So go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and give you 30 seconds just to kind of play around, add a subtopic related to mammals, and then maybe some details. So I'll go ahead and start the timer and give you 30 lovely seconds to just kind of play with creating those bubbles and creating that concept map.
Excuse me, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Is there any way that we can change the language so that it's non-American English, so that when we spell favourite with a U, it doesn't come up with an incorrect spelling?
So I don't think you can change the language. However, you can go into the students can go into their personal preferences and they can look through account settings. And I think there may be some language settings in there. I might have to send a follow-up email just to see, like, so if you have user settings, and right here we have display language. And so we have English, so we have these options, but these are the only language options. So I'm not sure if you don't see that to change your language, you can go into, and this is where I'll have to go into board settings, and then you can turn off spell check. So then it won't notify them that it's wrong, but then, just won't be spell checking anything.
Thank you.
Yeah. Perfect. Ooh, carnivores. I love it. I'm going to add a detail off of carnivals that shows lions are an example of a carnivore. I like where you went with this. And I like how you don't really, I just wrote mammals, and then you don't know where it's going to go from there. And I turned off spell check, so now I have no idea if I spelled herbivores correct, but we're all going to pretend I did. So herbivores, an example of a herbivore is an elephant, I think. So as the students are researching, they're creating this concept map. So as you can see, they're doing their research, they're growing it. You could also have the students together saying, okay, our main subtopics are going to be carnivores, herbivores, and omnivores. Now I want you to research carnivores and add the information. You to research herbivore and add some details, etc. Or all the students could be researching and they could be adding and changing the entire thing. So you guys can decide how you manage that with your students. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead to the next activity. So the next one is just kind of talking about peer editing and teacher feedback that you can do in Lucid. So the first one is adding comments to provide that feedback. So you can jump into their documents while they're working on it, if they've shared a link with you, and then you can add these comments. So any type of a sticky note, an image, a text box, all you have to do is either click on it and click the 3 dots and go to edit add comment, or you can right click on anything and go straight down to add comment. In the add comment, you can just add a comment like, I like how detailed your graphic organizer is. You can also tag them so they'll be alerted that they have it. So when you hit the @ sign, it'll start bringing up all of the people in your domain or in the board. And so then you can tag them. And if it's a task, you can click and make it an actual task, and then they can check those tasks off once they've been completed. So then I just click assign. And so now this task has been assigned to me and I can check that. Then a little quotation mark pops up knowing that I have that comment. There's also a notes feature. So on the left on your toolbar, there's something that looks like a little notebook. So either the students could use this or the teacher can use it just to write down generic feedback that might be related to the entire document rather than a specific item of the document. And then you can use the draw tool just to kind of annotate, circle things, mark things, however you want to use the annotation or highlight tool. And then in order to keep track of these comments that we were writing, you can click on the comments button in the upper right-hand corner. And now I'll see all of the comments, all of the tasks. And as I've completed my task, I can check it. And so now my task has been marked as complete. So a way to kind of organize that feedback as the student's completing your requests. So just a couple tips and tricks for peer editing and teacher feedback. So now I'm heading over to slide 10, and we get to do some fun collaborating activities. So first of all, what are some benefits to collaborative writing? So first of all, it boosts students' confidence in their own writing and just gets them excited to write. We know anytime they're interacting with their peers, they're highly engaged and they're excited to be working. Students also learn a lot from observing and interacting with their peers. So if they're collaborating together, then they're really learning through observation and picking up some of the things that they're noticing that their other students are doing. They're also usually, just like in the workplace, when people work together to complete something, they often produce higher quality work because you have more minds working together. And then finally, in the workplace, we know that you have to collaborate, you have to team. So it gives those students those essential skills for collaborating in teams, which they'll have to do, in their personal life, in their work life, all of the different places as they grow up and in school. So then we move to our final slide, which is our fun collaborative writing toolkit. So this is another toolkit. For this one, you don't have to click on it. You can click on it if you want to go in it, but I'm going to go in and I'm going to create some edit links, and we're just going to go into a couple of them. So we'll go into probably like one or two, and then you can explore some of the other ones. A lot of these are quick collaborative writing activities that you can use as somebody mentioned those, like that quick write for 10 minutes where students are quickly getting in, they're collaboratively writing, they get experience with their writing in a structured way, in a fun way that they're collaborating with their peers. So the first one we're going to do is a nice, quick, easy one called story chains. So I'm sure you guys have heard of story chains before. So it's just one way to organize story chains. So in this, I opened it up. It's creating, when I click on the link above story chains, I now will get my own copy. So I can start editing it, customizing it however I want to work with it. And I'm going to go ahead and I am going to create a share link using that blue share button in the upper right-hand corner. And I'm going to change it to edit. And we're all going to get in here and we're just going to kind of very quickly do this link chain. Usually I number my students. So a lot of times, they would just come in, and if I'm number 5, I'm going to wait until 1, 2, 3, and 4 are completed, and then I can complete the story. So story chains, if you haven't heard of story chains before, it's a fun collaborative writing experience where who knows where the story is going to go. So number 1 starts by writing a sentence, 2 sentences. Usually it's just a quick 1 sentence. And then once the first person has gone, then the second person goes, and the third, and they read and they build off of what the people wrote before. And then you can read the entire story at the end. Some people like to do story chains where you can only see the thing right before. So you will notice that your containers, there's a little eye. So you could close the ones as you go, just to kind of do a more hidden story, but we're just going to leave it wide open. I'm going to go ahead and pop that link into the chat. So this is a share link. This is how you would share it with students, just by using that blue collaborative edit link. So if you go to the Zoom chat and you click on that link, that's going to take you in to the collaborative writing experience. And then just go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and start it. And I'm going to say, on a misty Friday morning, I woke to a loud sound outside of my window. Perfect. All right. And then I'm going to have Paul, you get to be number 2. Go ahead and continue my sentence in number 2. Perfect. Karen, you get to be number 3. Maybe are you there, Karen? She's abandoned us.
I'm just trying to read it.
Okay, gotcha. You didn't know I was going to call out.
All right.
Good cop out there, Karen. So as you can see, like due to time, since we only have a couple minutes left, just, you can see how this goes. And so you would have the students assigned, they know when their turn is, they're watching as it's building. And this is a great collaborative activity that the teachers and the students can see as that story is building. And it's just exciting because you never know where that story is going to go. It's kind of like my Uber driver told me how exciting his day is, because one ride leads him to a new area, to a new ride, and he never knows where his day is going to go. So that's kind of the basis of this story. Now, the next one I'm going to show.
Your own adventure.
Yes, exactly. Choose your own adventure. It's short, it's quick, it's practicing writing, it's collaborating. So just kind of all of those pieces in one activity. Now, this next activity I'm going to show you because it's going to highlight our breakout boards. So this next one is one story, different endings. So again, I'm going to create this activity by clicking on the link. It opens up the template. Now I pre-populated this story. You can click and drag a PDF on here for a story, and then I just cropped it. So I cropped and locked it so they can't uncrop it. So this is the story beginning. Obviously, I'm an elementary teacher, but you can fill in whatever story you want. What you're going to do is you're going to read the story. So while you see it, go ahead and read. Then you're going to go into your own breakout board, which I'll show you how to make, and you're going to create your own ending to the story. And then we can go ahead and, look through all the endings in the breakout boards. So first I'm going to share the document with you, and then I'm going to show you how to get into those breakout boards. So I'm going to use my share link, and I'm going to give everybody edit permissions again, copy that link, and I'm going to go ahead and place that in the Zoom chat. So once you get into the document, read the story, and then when you're ready to access and write your own ending, you're going to go to breakout boards. Breakout boards are this 2 rectangle with a plus sign. Open them up. And again, if you don't see the breakout board tool, then just click the 3 dots in the bottom left-hand corner, and then you can open up breakout boards right here. You create a new breakout board just by clicking the plus sign. And then you can go ahead and just hit join. If you notice that there are 2 circles inside of this one breakout board, then you want to exit that breakout board. But I'm just going to claim this one with my name. As the teacher, you could also, in this template, pre-populate the breakout boards with each of the students' names already on there for you, or you could just have them create their own breakout boards. So go ahead into a breakout board, and go ahead and write your ending to this story. You'll also notice as the teacher, I can see that Karen is in breakout room number 1. I could click join, and I can pop in and I can watch Karen. I can see what she's working on. Love the ending. And so you can kind of manage as the teacher and seeing who's in what room, and you can pop in, see what they're working on. So I'm going to go ahead and give everybody 30 seconds to write their potential endings. And then once everybody has written their endings, we could go in and join the rooms, or I could call everybody back. So sorry if you weren't done. I just zoomed you out of your board. And then I can click and drag out whatever you wrote in your board onto the main screen. And so then I could pull out and we could discuss, oh, Paul wrote, the wolf smiled at the lamb. Karen wrote, because I'm going to eat you. So you could quickly pull those out, compare what are the similarities, the differences, the discussions. We could vote on which one we like the best. So just a different way to kind of extend this story. Okay, so I believe we only have 2 minutes left. Let me know, Karen, if I'm reading my clock wrong because of all the conversions.
So 2 minutes, thank you.
Okay. And so just some other ways. This is a template that you start with adding an image to each of the breakout boards, and then the students go in as small groups into each breakout board, and they use that image to write their story. So they work together in their own breakout board with their own image. So there are different images in each group's breakout board, and then they can share the stories that they wrote. We have a template for collaborative research where they have a research topic, but each person is researching a different topic, and then they come together to meld those into one. We have a sensory writing where everybody goes into the board and we're doing descriptive writing. So we have like one person is doing the taste of the topic, the hearing, touch. Everybody writes their own brainstorm of ideas, and then they can pull those together to write a descriptive paragraph together. And then we have a couple others where we have graffiti creative writing. This one I actually was pretty excited about this one. So take a look at it when you get a chance. Basically what graffiti writing does is it allows you just kind of like dump a bunch of ideas out, and then you start to write a so this one has in each of the breakout boards, it has the supporting character brainstorm. So everybody just kind of brain dumps a bunch of ideas for different supporting characters, and then they go to the next board and do the events. They go to the next board, do that. Then they come together and they decide, okay, which one are we going to move forward with? And then they have a graphic organizer to help them expand on that initial brainstorm. So that's kind of what that one looks like. And then the last one is just two people writing poems and then melding them together. So we're exactly at, I think, time. So hopefully you saw some ways that you can foster collaborative creative writing. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'm happy to answer those.
Vanessa, whilst we're waiting in case there are questions, I'd like to say a huge thank you. I have been blown away by, I've done 2 sessions now with Lucid, one with you and one with Brittany. We've got 2 more sessions coming up on writing as well. But I'm really blown away by how Lucid Spark, or how intuitive Lucid Spark can be used in classrooms, and also for those of us that work with teachers. Yeah, I was, as I said, blown away. I think it's a really useful tool, and I'm excited to use it more within our system. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Karen. I'm glad you enjoyed the session.
I've just got too many things to play with now.
I know, that's always the problem, right? Now, like, all the ideas are going.
Yeah. So we've just gone past the time. So I'd like to thank everyone for attending this afternoon as well. I've put in the chat just an evaluation, a link to an evaluation form. If you could take a moment to complete that, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. And as I said at the start of the session, this has been recorded. We'll upload it to the Catholic Learning Online website. And I think, Vanessa, our next session is September 1 at 7:30 in the morning, and it's around persuasive writing, is it? And then we've got one on September 8 as well in the afternoon. So
yeah, so let me, I don't remember which one it is, but I can pull up my calendar. I live day by day, Karen. One day at a time. Let me see. So which date did you think it was?
We've got one on the 1st of September.
1st of September. Okay, so let me quick. The 1st of September is, there it is. And that one is, I don't see one on the 1st of September. Oh, because you're a different day than me.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So
I forgot. I'm a day behind you guys.
Yeah.
So that one is
using Lucid to scaffold writing.
Yep, using it to scaffold and support the writing process.
Yes, and then the next one is on the 8th, and that's around persuasive writing. So if you'd like to join us for either of those, you're more than welcome to. But thank you once again, Vanessa. It's been fantastic, and thank you for everyone for joining us. Bye.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Bye, everybody.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
See you, Susan.
Bye, Susan.
Okay, and then Karen, hopefully for the next one, I will get you the presentation a little bit earlier than literally the day of. So I'll get that to you. Health pending my small child. And then I'll get that over to you. You can look at it and let me know if you have any like feedback or anything like that. And we can kind of tweak it. Scaffolding with writing is going to have a lot of like that graphic organizer toolkit. So we'll like kind of touch more into that, graphic organizer toolkit. I just wanted to highlight that since I know that's like a heavy hitter. So a lot of people enjoy seeing all of those different writing templates.
Yeah. And I just like the thing that struck me, and it was the same when Brittany shared the presentation that she did with us. It's just the fact that you can use Lucid Spark and, as you did, set the journey up and that sort of stuff. So you're not actually having to go in and manually going into each of the templates and saying, well, you have got this, you have got that, you have got something else. It just seems to be a really good way of organising stuff. So yeah, the more I see of it, the more I like it.
Yeah, I know. And then every update that comes out with Lucid Spark, because it's of course the new shiny toy, like the new Loom integration. Now I can like record my instructional videos directly inside of Lucid Chart and Lucid Spark. That's huge. Like every update they come up with, I'm always like so excited.
Yeah. And I really appreciate you getting back to me about the Lucid Press change as well, because even the people in our IT team weren't aware that had happened. So I'm not sure why we didn't hear about it, whether it's something that we had gone to our spam and we didn't look at it in time or something like that. But it was nice for you to let us know that it's, Yeah,
and I think like a lot of content came out about like the separation, like back when the separation happened in 2021. But then like when they changed the name, I didn't even know that like the name had already like pushed. Like all of a sudden I went in, I'm like, oh, we're Lucid published now. So they let us know it was happening, but they let us know a year ago that it was going to happen. So they could have, told us better.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I'll get out of your hair now, so you can go and do whatever you do at 12:50 or whatever it is in the morning.
Yeah, hopefully go to bed. That's what
Okay. Thank you very much.
See
I'll
you,
see you next
Karen.
week. Bye.
Bye.